Hey everybody, here we are for this week's video. Sorry we missed last week, but with Bristol being, we had to be up there on Tuesday and Wednesday. We just didn't find the time in our schedule to get it done. But we'll start with a recap from 2 weeks ago at Bowman Gray. We had twin 50s that night. Basically what we've kind of done, I know we've had a couple of rainouts and stuff in the last several weeks over there. Since we were docked 100 points, experiment with the car, trying to do some different things, and just kind of just trying to find something there. Even though the car was already good, we didn't have to worry about being this consistent week after week. We were just basically going after victories, which is, that's what we do anyway. But knowing that we didn't have a shot at the championship, it kind of changed my thinking just a little bit. But we changed a bunch of stuff on the car, went out and practiced. The car was terrible. We had our second practice, we made some adjustments, and the car was just still terrible. So qualifying came around, and let me say this, I don't want to say terrible as in, maybe terrible is too strong of a word. The car just really wasn't where I wanted it to be. But qualifying came around, I think we qualified fourth. Emma went in to draw for Jason, I think he was second. And then Lauren went in to draw for me. And the previous twin 50s, Jason drew the pole and I drew fourth. This time I drew the pole and he drew fourth. So knowing that we were starting on the pole, I decided to throw some more stuff at it. And I made a shock adjustment, a spring adjustment, a stagger adjustment. I just basically, I think I told the reporter, I threw everything at it. And I changed everything but the number and the driver. And after the race got going, we were able to pull away from the 53 car and win our 5th race of the year. The second race, we inverted 10. I got back to 3rd or 4th there, and a couple guys in front of me are running over each other, running through the grass. And it was just a wild night, but we were able to finish 3rd in the second race. So a 1st and a 3rd wasn't very bad. So it was a bittersweet night because even though I was able to finish 1st and 3rd, Jason finished 3rd in the first one. And somebody's Nerf bar flew off in a wreck and went through Jason's radiator, and he had a DNF in the second race. And that knocked him to 13 behind in the points championship. So I felt really bad for Jason. He was in a position there to actually leave there with the points lead, which would have changed, after I tell you about what happened this past weekend, it would have changed things dramatically as far as the points situation. But anyway, like I said, I got our 5th win of the season. We backed it up this week at Bristol. We had to be up there on Tuesday and Wednesday. Tech is all day Tuesday. For Bristol, you have to run a different fuel, different tire compound, different ride heights. So it's a good idea to kind of get everything done as far as your inspection stuff. And then they do a courtesy check where you can run through the scales, check your quarter panel heights, and make sure all that stuff is where it needs to be. So we did all that on Tuesday. We came back on Wednesday. And we took the LFR chassis, and I've been in communication with Rob Fuller with Ziggity driving his car. We were the only 2 LFR chassis at Bristol. So we've been kind of, bouncing ideas off each other, and we went with 2 different setups, thinking that, we could use each other, as experiments and guinea pigs to see what works here, maybe what works here, and combine them together. But we went out and practiced, and I had tires. Most people went out on stickers. I had a set from last year that had like 3 laps on them that I went out on, and we went to the top of the board and practiced automatically. Or, I mean, not automatically, but right off the beginning. So I knew we had a pretty good race car. I wanted to still make some adjustments to it. I knew there was a lot more there. So we made some more changes, and at Bristol, you have to raise your ride heights because when you go in the corner, the force just slams the car to the ground and the car will bottom out. So whenever you go from used tires to new tires and you pick up and you're able to run in the corner harder, the car's going to travel more. That being said, whenever we put our new tires on, I go off into one and the car bottomed out. We came in, raised it up, go back, car bottomed out. And you don't want to just come in and raise it way up. You want to find that fine line because you don't want to get it any higher than you have to. So after doing that about 3 or 4 times, practice was over. We had a rain shower. They dried the track. That's one of the great things about going to somewhere like Bristol, the venue of Bristol, because the track dryers and the jet dryers and all of that stuff, And they had it dried in no time, and we were back on the racetrack. So the second practice rolled around, and I went out and I scuffed my 4 change tires, came back in, put that other set back on that had maybe 10 laps on them at this point. And we were 4th fastest in practice. And I knew the car was good. The car was driving really good. We had our new spec engine in. It seemed to be running really good. I really felt like that we had not just a competitive race car, but a fast race car as far as qualifying was concerned. So qualifying rolled around, and we qualified second, which is the best I've ever qualified at Bristol. They gave me the pole for the southern side of the thing, but I still qualified second. It's nice to be able to get the pole money and get your picture made with the hat and the plaque, but we qualified second. I think that we gave it away because right before I went out, I almost told them to shut the stagger down in the back just a little bit because it looked like a couple of people were getting loose. And I opted out of that, and then my car was too free qualifying, and I felt like we probably could have been on the pole had we made that adjustment. But anyway, qualified second, made our adjustments stagger-wise, air pressure-wise for the race. Dropped with a green flag. The car wasn't that bad, and then it seemed like, I know that we probably started out probably too free. I could tell that the car was a little bit too free, for the setup. But it just seemed like it was getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and I fell back, waiting for the halfway break to put 4 new tires on and make an adjustment. Well, when that came along, put some fuel in it, put our 4 tires on, made an adjustment. We pulled out a spring rubber and shut the stagger down, and the car was still just as bad. And I told the guys on the radio, I said, something's not just right. I can tell that not only should the adjustments, made it better, it didn't. But I could tell something wasn't just right. And then after the race, we ended up 15th, which was, pretty disappointing, just simply because I knew that we had a race car that was capable of performing a lot better than it did. But anyway, we finished 3rd on the southern leg of it. We went to tech, and I realized, and kind of what I had in my mind, there's without getting too technical, there's a link that runs from your rear end to your chassis, and it keeps your rear end from doing not side to side and not front to back, but the angle of your pinion, it keeps it from doing this. The jam nut had backed off, so the rear end was able to do this. So anybody that's familiar with racing, you can imagine that somewhere like Bristol, the high speed with the high banks, when you go off in the corner and that rear end moves, it makes for a long day. It makes for lots of blisters on your hands because I was basically fighting it basically all day. But like I said, it's typically at Bristol, motor-wise and car-wise and financially, it's hard for us to compete with the northern guys. I'm not making excuses by any means because I've been able to win 2 north-south shootouts. I won the Martinsville race set. Well, we don't have to talk about that. But, I feel like that we can compete with them. But when we go to Bristol, if you can come out of there with a good, solid finish, it seems like as a whole, everybody is somewhat happy. We're not satisfied by any means, but this time was just different. I just had a different feel. The group had a different feel. With this new car, with the spec motor, I just really felt like the way we were performing in practice and the way we performed qualifying, that we had a car that could win the race. So it's extra disappointing this time to know that we had a problem. But on the other hand, the fact that we had a problem allows a little bit of closure because we know that there was something wrong there. But anyway, we'll get going on to this past weekend. We had our season finale at Bowman Grange, 150 lapper. I made a couple other changes. Well, let me back up. I went out this week the same as I finished the race, the Twin 50 that I won. And in practice, the car just seemed like it was all over the racetrack. So I made a couple adjustments here and there and did a couple things, and the car was still just felt like it was up on top of the racetrack, like it just did not want to have, it didn't have the grip in the front or the back that I wanted. So basically, I changed 4 shocks and springs, made a couple adjustments here and there. We didn't have anything to lose. We were there to try to win the race and hopefully watch Jason be able to win the championship. But we made those changes. I think we qualified 4th or 5th. 5th, we actually qualified 5th. Jason qualified 3rd. He was right in front of me, qualified 3rd. The blue car came back this week, qualified on the pole. 53 was second, and Jason, then Lee, then me. So the point contenders, first, second, third, fourth in points, were all in the front. So, you know, I was hoping to be able to see, I know how Bowman Gray operates, I know the trends that it produces, but I was hoping to see those guys be able to race it out for the championship. So as the race got going on, it was 83, 53, Jason, and then me. And as we got to racing a little bit, Jonathan Brown was actually driving Danny Bond's backup car. Danny Bond had said earlier in the week that Jonathan was going to drive the car in case he needed a car. If he had problems, he'd have a car there. And also to try to put cars, it'd be another car that could be in between him and then maybe another point contender. Totally understandable. Jonathan gets up to, you swatting flies or are you waving at me? Steven's waving at me. So basically, we had to restart. Jonathan got by me, so it's, and then in that mix, we caught some lap cars. The 53 got by the 83. So it's 53, 83, 4, 65, and me. The way the points had to shake out is Jason and Danny were 1 point apart. So whoever finished in front of the other one would beat that person. They both had to have at least 4 cars in between them and Lee Jeffries. So it was 53, 83, 4, 65, me, and then there was, I think Lee was about 10. So at the point that we were running, Danny Ball was champion, Jason was second, Lee was third. I noticed the 65 was putting a lot of pressure on Jason. You know, I don't blame a man for running a man, you know, hard trying to win the race, but you know, this is just my personal opinion that if the man that put you in his car is in the catbird seat and is in position to win the championship, you know, there's mixed, you know, everybody has mixed feelings about it, but in my opinion, 65 should have, you know, he should have stayed out of it. He should have not even given anybody a reason to say that he had a determining factor in the championship, because Danny Bond didn't need help. Danny Bond had the car to win. Danny Bond won the race and the championship. And to me, that puts a black eye on Danny's championship. Because I don't think I've been talking all this. I didn't tell exactly what happened. The 65 turned Jason around with 8 laps to go. He didn't need to do that. Jason, you know, was already going to finish second to Danny in the championship. I understand Jonathan, you know, wanted to win the race, but like I said, if he'd have been in a 22 car, it'd been a whole different situation. If he'd have been in anybody's car except for Danny Bond's car, totally different situation. I find it ironic that when I move somebody out of the way that's holding me up, lap after lap after lap, and I move them out of the way, I'm a dirty driver. Or when that guy gets you back, you deserve it. That's what's said whenever I do it. And it is funny to me how people see things so differently. I've got friends that are Carolina fans that a Carolina player can hack somebody across the arm and everybody else sees it, and the Carolina fan is going to say, nope, that's not a foul. I understand that. People see things the way they want to see it based on their perspective of who they pull for. I get it. I get it. But to me, it's just ironic that in this situation, well, Jason was holding him up. What was he supposed to do? Well, pick a side. You know, either it's this way or it's this way. Like I said, it's one of those deals where everybody's going to see it different. Honestly, I'm glad that the stadium season is over with for this year. It's just been a long season. We ended up with 5 victories, 2 poles. I had the most wins, most laps led, fastest lap of the year, and the Hard Charger Award, which was gaining positions from starting the furthest back and coming to the front. So, and ended up 4th in the points. So, you know, on paper, we had a great year. And, you know, I can't do this video without throwing this out there. Danny Bond won the championship with 664 points. I was 4th with 600 points. Well, anybody can do the math. If you add 100 points to 600 points, that puts it at 700 points. And that changes things dramatically. But it is what it is. You know, I'm not going to sit here and go on and on and on about it and good or bad, because everything happens for a reason. But I want to end on a positive note and say thank you to my sponsors, my fans, my family, my team, everybody who stuck with us through thick and thin this year, everybody that supported us. Like I said, I'm honestly, I'm glad it's over. A lot of people in this area, to them, racing season's over. Well, this weekend we've got Langley, Virginia on Saturday. We've got Ace Speedway on Monday, and then we go to Caraway on Friday. So we're not done. We race all the way through November. So if you get a chance, look up our NASCAR Well and Southern Modified Tour schedule. Find a race that's close to you. The Coma Online Modified Madness Series, we're still involved with that. Find a race that's near you. Come out and see us, because we actually get to do some real racing. It's not so much about the entertainment. It's not so much about the drama and the controversy. Even though there is some, it's not focused around that like it is at Bowman Gray Stadium. So come out and check us out. Come out and see us. Thanks to everybody who has supported us. Thanks to Citrus Safe Barbecue Grill Cleaner, Speedway Auto Auction, Doug and Wendy at Adams Towing, John at Clean Up Supply. Man, there's just so many people that help us. Budget Sales and Leasing, Howland Express Lube, Collins, oh, it's on this car, sorry, it's on my stadium card, Collins Home Improvements, not to mention the people like RE and Pro System and Brown and Miller and people like that help too. It would be virtually impossible for us to do the things that we do without the support from these companies and these individuals and the people that help us go on. Like I said, thanks to my family, thanks to my wife. She has been super here lately, putting up with a lot. I think a lot of times I just catch myself running off to the racetrack because that's where I know I have to be, and I automatically assume that she's going to take care of things while I'm gone. And don't get me wrong, she does, and she does a great job, but and she doesn't complain. But I feel like that when I take a step back and I look at it, I realize how much I put on her. So thank you for helping me, honey, and making this possible for me, because without you in the background, with being my backbone, I wouldn't be able to stand up straight to be able to do this. So thanks, Kim. But my kids at Sacrifice, my team, everybody that makes this happen, thank you so much. So that's our video for this week. For the last one, I guess this is a 2-week makeup. That's why it's so long. For people like Kim that say I ramble too much, sorry. But thank you for everything you do. Click it, share it, post it, comment on it. Let us know where you're watching this from. It's cool to see the different people from all across the country that actually watch these videos. So it's pretty cool to know that you're touching people all over the country. So anyway, I'll stop rambling now. Thank you for what you do. Come see us this weekend, Langley, Virginia, Ace Speedway on Monday, Caraway on Friday, and then check the schedule from there on out. Thank you for everything you do. God bless you.